Hi there folks, Rifle Cherry here, and today we're going to be looking at the Olympic Arms MFR, this AR-15 right here. Now I've got the Colt along here just to give you a bit of a mil-spec comparison between the two rifles. So this is the Olympic Arms MFR, which is essentially what the website will refer to as a multi-function rifle. What that means I don't know. It seems to me that most of the Olympic Arms products that are out these days have different names, but this is what it was back then. This is 2013 manufacture. So I went with the A1 upper receiver on the Olympic Arms simply because I really dig carry handles, and if you'll notice, if you look at the A1 carry handle and the A2 carry handle, you'll notice that there's a lot more space under here for a hand. If you're going to lift this up and carry it and just walk with it in a kind of trail carry position, it's a lot more comfortable. Here you're actually struggling to get your hand in there. Your knuckles can't get quite past this. So it's a carry handle, sure it is, but I mean it's kind of a fingertip carry handle, if you know what I mean. Here you can get your whole hand in. It's not a problem. And I really think that's comfortable. So ergonomically I like this a lot, and frankly I'm fine with the A2, or I should say the A1 sighting system here. There is a bit of a difference here, and I'll just take a quick measurement. So far as the sight radius is concerned, so the A1 with a 16-inch barrel, we have a sight radius of about 14.25 inches, and the A2 20-inch, we have a sight radius of 20.5. So 6 inches in difference in sight radius, and that actually makes a fair amount of difference when you're out shooting these rifles, so far as your ability to use your open sights accurately. Of course, we got the Trijicon RCO AR with the ARD on it. Quite often I won't have this on. Beautiful sight, beautiful sight. Now of course we got to have the good old-fashioned A1 sight tool, of course. So let's talk about some of the differences between these two rifles. Now Olympic Arms, as you probably already know, they in-house manufacture absolutely everything, with the exception of maybe the magazines. Pretty much 100% of all parts come out of the factory, and they're all Olympic Arms manufactured parts. Which is kind of neat for a company to do that. I mean, most companies, including Colt, will outsource components of their rifles for manufacture, right? And then they'll just assemble them in the factory. They don't make absolutely everything that goes on these Colt rifles. None of it. I mean, but Olympic Arms does 100% made in the USA, which is pretty cool. And what that does is it allows the company to essentially really get a handle on their own quality assurance, quality control. Now the MFR, the Olympic Arms MFR, which stands for multi-function rifle. I'm not quite sure why they call it the MFR, but this one was in 2013. I don't really see this model on the Olympic Arms website anymore. The closest thing I can find is called the PPC, or the Plinker Plus Compact by Olympic Arms. It's the closest I can find to this. But this, they don't call it the MFR anymore, not that I've been able to see. This one here comes with a forged A1 upper with a windage adjustable rear sight. The lower is forged 7075 T6 aluminum. There's a front sight which is adjustable for elevation, and it has a bayonet leg. Handguards are carbine length, and there's no heat shielding underneath these handguards. The barrel is 16 inches long, with its 416 stainless steel, and has a black oxide finish, 1-9 twist, button rifling, 6 lands and 6 grooves. The A2 arrestor is half by 28 threads per inch, which is pretty standard. Aluminum delta ring, 6-position M4 style stock. This originally came with a commercial buffer tube and buttstock, but I replaced it with mil-spec because I like having parts commonality between my AR-15s. No particular reason for that. There's nothing wrong with a commercial buffer tube. And it originally came with a GI or an A2 style pistol grip. There's a MOE mag pull on here. which is what the rifle came with, because I bought it used. So there's a lowdown on some of the specifications of this rifle. Now for this next portion, I'm just going to do a quick teardown here, and we're going to have a look at the bolt. Move that out of the way. Well, let's do the Colt too. Might as well, we got it here. Just to do a comparison. Yes, I like to run my bolts nicely greased up. Let's see if we can zoom in here. Alright, so we have a Colt here and the Olympic arms on the bottom. Now, you'll notice that the staking for the gas keys on the Colt are very, very pronounced. Not so much on the Olympic arms in comparison. Not bad, but I mean, they're not going to go anywhere, but you know, just the difference between the Colt and the Olympic arms. Now, Olympic arms bolts are not MPI inspected. They are Magnaflex inspected. Magnaflexed as bar stock. And this happens before the machining process starts. Before, as I understand it, before magnetic particle inspection, which is what this is, bolts and barrels, before MPI came out, as I understand it, most, if not all of these bolts way back were Magnaflexed inspected. And as I understand it, Magnaflexing is a non-destructive examination of ferrous material. So what are ferrous materials? So ferrous materials are steels with high carbon content, which means that they're vulnerable to rusting, right? If it's vulnerable to rusting, then it's a ferrous material generally. And that would include steel, carbon steel, alloy steel, cast iron, and wrought iron, right? So this here is Magnaflex inspected. This is MPI inspected. Is there a big deal? I don't know. I don't think so. But anyway, just so you know, this is the old school way of doing business. This is the modern way of doing business with the way the Colt and most other manufacturers MPI inspect their bolts. In fact, there should be something on here, and there might not be. Anyhow, moving right along. Interesting difference. So, stake gas keys, really quite pronounced on the Colt. The Olympic arms is just as good, just as good. Both rifles have M4 feed ramps. Let's have a look at that. Olympic arms, Colt, M4 feed ramps, M4 feed ramps. Now apparently Olympic Arms consider themselves to be a mil-spec parts manufacturer, and so they meet the requirements of mil-spec. And so let's just do a, tell you what, let's put the Colt bolt in this rifle and see what happens, and we'll put the lower on. Here's the Colt bolt and the Colt lower. And the Olympic Arms upper with a Colt bolt. Okay, everything seems to be nice and tight. Yeah, and there's very little wobble there. Okay, let's try the, got a strange feeling I'm going to go to hell for doing this, but let's do the Olympic Arms bolt and the Colt. Excuse me. a bit tight. Ah, yes. There. Okay. Olympic Arms bolt and a Colt upper. And that seemed to work. Here's, see, I kind of magically just reassembled the rifles for your enjoyment. Now there appears to be this phenomenon, and I've been going to a bunch of websites just to research what people are saying about Olympic Arms, and essentially the messaging that I've been hearing is that these are substandard rifles, and that they would pass on them if they had the opportunity to purchase one. So these are questions often being posed by people that are brand new to I keep wanting to, anyway, to these rifles. They're looking for an entry-level AR-15. And you know, to be honest, the Colt USA, Colt Canada, Ruck River Arms, Daniel Defense, Norinco, Bushmaster, Armalite Stag, Palmetto State Armory, CMMG, Novesk, LMT, HK, POF, Knights Armament, and Olympic Arms. They all generally, most of them have an entry-level rifle. Some are more expensive than others. $500 you can get yourself an Olympic Arms. $500 you can get yourself a Norinco. Right? People swear by their Norincos. People swear by their Olympic Arms. People swear by their Stags, which have a tendency to be a little bit more expensive. Armalite. I'd say probably half of those manufacturers I just spotted off have at least one entry-level rifle that is so configured. This one here has got the A1 upper on it, and people don't necessarily like that very much. I do, because I find them more comfortable, and I actually enjoy peep sights quite a bit. But one thing that people don't seem to understand, and I like this, is that you know, Olympic Arms, you got to think about how it is that they got their start. Actually, Bushmaster and Olympic Arms, they both got their start making parts for Colt. So they started, they weaned themselves up into a company from just being a parts manufacturer for Colt all the way up to manufacturing and merchandising their own AR-15s. Good chance that most of the parts that come out of this was designed to eventually go into that. And so you can try to think of it this way: is that if it was good enough for Colt, it's probably good enough for Olympic Arms. So, as previously stated, Olympic Arms, they don't outsource any of their own parts. They physically manufacture everything they sell, 100%. And if it goes bang every time, and if it's reliably accurate, what's wrong with Olympic Arms? There was one a time in history when they had cast lower receivers, right? And that hurt the company's reputation. They've come back to say, we're not doing that anymore. That was a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. And every manufacturer makes a turd every once in a while, okay? And if you can polish a turd until it's nice and shiny, in the end it's still just a turd. These are not turds. And in the end, you've got to look at it. If you're looking at somebody who's trying to get into the sport, get their first AR-15 rifle, how much do you want to pay? How much disposable income do you have? Are you looking at getting yourself something like this for $500, $600, $650? Or something like this for $1,400, $1,500? Okay, think of what you could do with $1,000 so far as getting yourself up to either manufacture your own ammunition or to buy practice ammunition. Right? The equipment is one thing, but your ability to get yourself into the shooting game and get started, you save yourself a heck of a lot of money. You spend all of your money on a rifle like this, you got no ammunition. You buy this rifle, you got $1,000 worth of ammunition that you can buy, and that's got to count for something. So for a commercial low-budget AR, I don't think you should necessarily disregard Olympic Arms. I think they're a great little rifle. I'm getting decent enough groups with it. You know, 4-inch groups at 100 meters with open sights. That's what this is. It's not necessarily a lightweight rifle. Let's see if I can get this off. This is really tight. Yeah, it's on there good. Yeah, that was a struggle to get those handguards off, but you can see the profile of the barrel here. We're not talking about a lightweight. This is a heavy barrel, heavy stainless barrel, and it's marked right here. if you can read that. SS for stainless steel. Any other markings on this thing? Yeah, right here. It says SS 556 right there. Here we have the Colt on the right and the Olympic Arms on the left. You'll notice the web here in the lower receiver for the Colt. And I will say that the Olympic Arms on the left has one of the nicest triggers I've felt on a rack grade AR-15. Even nicer than the Colt, to be honest with you. Very nice. Olympic Arms on the bottom, Colt on the top. There's a little hole right here, it's not in the Colt. That's for your consideration, folks. Again, there's no heat shield underneath these. Again, a entry-level rifle, right? So there you have it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, Maple Leaf up.